Bienvenidos a Renegade Con, everyone. Gracias por compartir la tarde con nosotros. Welcome to Renegade Con. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Today we have the talented Dan Mora with us. We're so lucky to have him with us. I'm your host, Anita Almas Osborne, and we're streaming live from Costa Rica. Dan, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here with you.
Muchas gracias. And so just so everyone knows, I'll be asking the questions in English and sometimes Spanglish and sometimes Spanish, just so we can kind of make sure that everyone understands each other. But if there's anything Spanish spoken, I'll be sure to translate it into English so that everyone can understand. I'm not a professional translator, I'm an art director, so bear with me. All right, so I'm not going to tell you guys what Dan is going to draw. I'm going to let you guys kind of see how it progresses and see how it develops and see if you guys can figure out what he's drawing. So Dan, ¿quieres compartir tu pantalla?
Claro.
And I will be monitoring the chat. So if you guys have questions for Dan, I'll go ahead and relay those off to him since he won't be watching the chat, but I'll try to do my best to kind of keep an eye on both.
Hice una imagen previa para poder aprovechar lo suficiente el tiempo.
Bien. So he did kind of do a little preview, little rough sketch for us, just so that he can try to get this done within the 15 minutes that we've got for this stream. So you can kind of already see who he's drawn. So he did a really light pencil sketch underneath on a separate layer. Now he's kind of going over it with some different brushes and darkening up the lines. Surprise. Dan, ¿cuánto tiempo duraste con el dibujo debajo?
Como unos 15 minutos, ¿sabes? 10 minutos por ahí. 10, 15 minutos.
Okay, so the sketch that you guys are seeing, that's really light in the background, he spent about 10, 15 minutes kind of quickly doing an under drawing there. So that's really fast.
No estoy muy acostumbrado a dibujar en este programa, pero voy a hacer ahí lo mejor que pueda.
¿Estás in Procreate?
Sí.
Okay, so Dan's using Procreate for the live stream tonight. Normally he uses a different application. What was it? Paint Tool site?
Paint Tool site, sí.
See, so he's not, this isn't his normal application that he uses, that he prefers, but it works great for the live stream. And I think he's so talented that he can use any program he wants to make it work. And so just in case anyone's not familiar with Dan Mora, he comes to us from DC Comics, from Boom Comics. He's drawn Batman, Superman, Shazam, Flash, of course, Go-Go, Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Buffy the Vampire Slayer,
Batman, Superman.
Batman and Superman, yep. So it is a special treat that he gets to draw for Renegade Games. His artwork is shown up on multiple box covers for us. I think one of my favorites has been Shattered Grid, coincidentally, and it's always a treat watching his art in action.
Thank you.
Someone on the chat is asking what Dan's favorite character is to draw. ¿Cuál es tu favorito, Dan?
¿De los Rangers o...?
Sí, de los Rangers o luego después de cualquiera.
De los Rangers, mi favorito is the Red Ranger.
So his favorite Ranger to draw is the Red Ranger. ¿Cómo?
Mighty Morphin, the Red Ranger.
Mighty Morphin's Red Ranger. And that's who he drew for us last February for Renegade Con. That was amazing. And just so you guys know, this character is going to show up in an upcoming game. I'm not allowed to tell you which game it's going to be. It's a secret, but it is going to show up in an unannounced Power Rangers RPG source book. That's all I'm allowed to tell you. So be ready for it. Oh, ¿y qué es tu favorito personaje para de todos?
The Batman or Batman or Spider-Man.
Spider-Man
Spider-Man or Batman.
or Batman? It's hard to compete with those.
Yeah, those are the heroes from my childhood. So they have a special place in my heart.
Nice. Is that what you started drawing when you were a kid?
Yeah, the Ninja Turtles, the
Ninja
Batman,
Turtles.
Spider-Man, and Flash. I remember that. I used to draw the Flash when I was a kid.
And did you go to art school as a kid, Dan, or was it not until you were in college?
No, I didn't go to high school to art school when I was a kid. I just used to draw a lot after school.
Mm-hmm. So you didn't go to an actual art school until college?
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing.
My mom tried to put me on some classes, but I didn't like it.
Why is that?
Because I couldn't draw the things that I wanted. They wanted me to draw landscapes and stuff like that, and I didn't want to draw that. So I was boring.
Yeah, the class. I mean, I went to art school as well, but you know, they always teach you the classics first. The modeling, the fruit bowl is, you know, always a traditional piece. Did you take anatomy classes before or in college?
En la universidad, sí.
University.
Recibí anatomía, ya todo lo que es más formal. Pero cuando estaba niño, no quería todas esas formalidades, solamente quería disfrutar el dibujo, digamos.
So when Dan was young, his mom tried to take him to an art school, and he found it really boring because he didn't want to draw what they were trying to tell him to draw. He wanted to draw what he wanted to draw. And it wasn't until college where he actually got to draw what he wanted to in a professional school setting. Let's see, what else are people asking on the chat? We've got someone asking, Jeannie Torres, our creative director, is asking, how old were you when you fell in love with drawing?
I'm not sure, but the first memory that I have, I think, is for 4 years old. One of the first things that I remember is that I used to like to drawing Garfield, the cat. So creo que desde los 4 años es como de fijo estoy dibujando.
That's early. Nice. I love that. Someone else is asking, Sophia is asking, what is your favorite thing you have that you have worked on for Renegade? Good question.
Maybe the first box.
Oh, the Heroes of the Grid.
Yeah, the first box was very exciting.
That is a great cover. That was one of my favorites as well. Love that. It kicked off. I don't even know how many expansions we have on that games now.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It was the first time I was doing something like that, so I was very excited. I was very excited.
Something different than the comic books that you normally draw.
Yeah, it was the first time. So
Nice. And I think you had told us about how does your family play those games? Or they like to
we
play with
try,
the pieces?
but my kids are very young,
Oh, that's yes.
so they want to play with the figures and they don't want to follow the rules. So maybe when they are a little older, we can try again.
Absolutely. I bet
They
they're gonna
are 5 and 6 years old.
Oh, they are really little. Cute. Boy and girl, right?
2 boys.
2 boys. Very cute. ¿Y cómo se llaman?
Leonardo y Ricardo.
Ricardo and Ricardo. Cute. So Dan, I noticed that you're moving the artboard around, trying to get a different angle, because are you drawing on the screen right now, or are you drawing on a pad on the side?
Sí, estoy dibujando directo en la pantalla.
Okay. So he's drawing
Este,
straight onto the screen. And he's able to turn the canvas so that the angle of his hand matches up to the angle he wants to do, and it feels natural. So that's why you kind of see the image flipping around a little bit.
es un poco parecido como sería, digamos, con un papel normal, o sea, con la tradicional, digamos.
Like moving a sheet of paper around. Let's see. Dude, Dragon Shield. People are picking it up. ¿Y qué más? ¿Y te encuentras dibujando otras cosas como nomás por placer? ¿O nomás por trabajo ahora?
No, me encantaría, pero I don't have the time.
So
No,
I asked him.
¿Ah?
Oh, go ahead.
No, dime qué me ibas a decir.
Yeah, so I just asked him if he gets to ever sketch just for fun on the side, just for pleasure, or is it strictly for work now that he's been drawing professionally for so long. And he said that unfortunately he doesn't get to draw just for pleasure anymore, that it's usually just for work. But he does enjoy it quite a bit.
Sí. Sometimes when I have a day off, I want to draw, but then I remember that I have to draw all week, and so I change my mind.
Right now I'm gonna do something else.
Yeah. Sí.
Nice.
Son como 16 horas al día que paso dibujando.
16 horas?
Sí.
Wow. So he's drawing about 16 hours a day during the week. So when the weekend comes and he feels like he wants to draw, he actually doesn't allow himself to, because he's been drawing all week. And so that he can actually do something different and get some inspiration. ¿Sales para inspiración? ¿Qué haces? Do you watch movies?
Veo películas. Me gusta ver el trabajo de otras personas. Sí, no, en general sí, lo que es la televisión, las películas, todo eso me ayuda bastante, me da inspiración. O nada más desestresarme, salir y comer y estar con mi familia, olvidarme de trabajo un tiempo, eso me ayuda a relajarme. Y una vez ya relajado, ya como que puedo trabajar más tranquilo después.
So he likes to watch movies for inspiration. He gets a lot of his inspiration from movies and shows. And then he'll also spend time with his family and go out to events so that he can relax and be ready to go when he sits down at his desk to draw.
Porque muchas veces cuando uno está muy presionado, que hay mucho estrés, el trabajo no sale tan bien y hay que más bien volverlo a hacer después porque no quedó bien. Entonces prefiero descansar un momento cuando eso pasa y eso me sirve bastante.
So he's just emphasizing that when he feels stressed or he feels like he's rushing to meet a deadline, that it can often show in the work. So he tries to make sure that his mindset is in the right place. And I can definitely relate to that. With all the artwork that comes through Renegade, we definitely try to let our artists take the time they need, because if you're in a bad mood or if you're stressed out, if you're tired, it's going to show in your work, because this artwork is such an expression of the artist.
Mm-hmm.
¿Y cómo es que tú eres costarricense y tienes todos tus clientes como en los Estados Unidos y Europa? ¿Es ventaja que eres de Costa Rica, como te conocen más por esa razón, or is it a disadvantage?
Creo que tal vez hace un tiempo hubiese sido una desventaja porque era más difícil dar a conocer su trabajo estando en Costa Rica. Pero ahora con lo que son las redes sociales, me fue más fácil que se diera a conocer mi trabajo, digamos. Y creo que si soy de Costa Rica o no, creo que a la gente no le importa mucho, porque a veces no saben de dónde soy. La gente cree que soy de Brasil o que soy de Indonesia. Casi nadie sabe que soy de Costa Rica. Entonces, sí, es bueno.
Sí. Y al principio era, okay, so let me translate before I get too deep. So I just asked Dan if being a Costa Rican and living in Costa Rica has been a disadvantage or an advantage to stand out among American and European clients, and how that kind of affects who he works for. And he said, al principio era ventaja o no ventaja?
No era ventaja hace unos años, digamos.
So at the beginning, it wasn't an advantage, but now that social media is so rampant and it's so easy to connect with people around the world, that people don't even know where he's from. So it doesn't even play a part in whether he does a certain job or a certain project, because we're also so connected, easily connected through the internet. Nobody even knows where we are, but it's very true. I mean, even with all the illustrators that we work with, I mean, they're all over the world, and it's just so easy now to get your work in front of people and to share your portfolios and do really good work and find really good people. Let's see, let's check chat. All right. A nice message for you, Dan. Says that they love your art, and boom, stories brought this world back into my life. So thanks.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Same with Joe. Wouldn't have gotten back into Rangers without the Boom comics.
Thank you, appreciate it.
And when you first started drawing, todo era por mano, no era en computadora.
No, my first book was all digital. Then my second book, I tried to do it traditional. Mm-hmm. And then right now I do a mix between digital and traditional.
Nice. And what is it, like 50-50, you think? And which one do you prefer?
Oh, it's like un 80% digital y un 20% manual.
Okay, so 80% digital and 20% traditional where he's drawing on paper. That's awesome that you're still doing both. And
Sí,
you do
es una parte muy bonita del trabajo.
the otra vez?
No, que la parte manual es una parte muy bonita de dibujar. Entonces no se puede olvidar completamente.
Ujú. Y cuando tú escojas y si lo vas a hacer tradicional o digital, es ¿por qué razones escoges uno o el otro?
O qué tan factible es que la portada se pueda vender o que la página se pueda vender.
Okay.
Si hay algún comprador interesado o si hay alguien que le gustaría esa imagen, entonces la hago manual. Si es algo normal que tal vez no es tan interesante o es gente hablando nada más, entonces es tradicional. Es digital, perdón.
Okay. So he will choose. So he said he did 80% digital and 20% traditional. And I asked him what makes him choose between the two. What would make him choose traditional over digital? And if the page, like if it's a comic book page or panel that he's drawing, if there's a buyer to buy the original piece, then he'll draw it on paper so that he can physically sell the drawing. And if it's digital, then it's usually more for non-collectors or not to be sold, usually.
Exacto. Ah, sorry.
Are you hitting the button? Está bien. Nice.
Your face is very near to the tools. So
Get my face out of there. I don't think you need my face in there at all. Oh no. Nice. So as everyone starting to see the form here, we've got Dr. Thomas Oliver coming from the depths of Dan's screen. Half Mighty Morphin Green Ranger and half Lord Dracon. Looking good. So normally, Dan, when you're doing this on paper, you would do like a light sketch. And then this black that we're seeing now, that would be black ink.
Mhm.
And then you'd come back and do the color on top of that.
Yeah, I need to scan the image and then put the colors with Photoshop or Paint to Sign.
So do you normally do all your color in Photoshop?
I use both. I use Paint to Sign and then I change to Photoshop to do some stuff that I can't with Paint to Sign. And then I move to Paint to Sign again and then I move to this. I use both. Yeah.
Pero cuando es tradicional en papel,
The same.
igual.
Yeah, the colors are always digital.
Oh, the colors are always digital.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Just the inks are traditional.
Got it. Good to know. I did not know that.
Sometimes there is like a cool project and I try to do watercolor, but it's super complicated and super difficult, and I need more time. So it's not something that I do a lot, but
Sure.
I have done it. Lo hice un par de veces.
That makes sense. Because there's always a deadline.
Sí.
Always a deadline.
Ya voy a poner el color. ¿Qué hora es, Anita? ¿Cuánto llevamos? Perdón, ¿qué le digas?
5:33 aquí.
Tengo como 15 minutos.
Sí,
¿Verdad?
unos 28.
Okay.
So
Lo
we're
que hago
totally
es
rushing Dan. He's trying to get this done and do his best so that you guys can see what the final image ends up looking like. So we were just talking about rushing, but he's still able to do this amazing work with everyone watching, with me asking him questions that don't even relate to what he's doing, and trying to watch the clock so that he can get this to a good spot. Very impressive.
Sí, lo que hice fue poner una capa encima en Multiply y de ahí el color eh, respeta los negros que están abajo.
Okay, so now he has an additional layer that he's working with, and he multiplied the top layer. That's why it looks gray. And he's painting in encima or debajo.
Encima.
So he's painting on top, and that's why it's multiplied, so you can see. It's looking awesome, Dan.
Thank you.
¿Y normalmente escuchas música cuando dibujas o
Ah, sí, claro. Sí, sí, escucho música.
audiobook or something?
Sí, no, escucho música, escucho historias, escucho, no sé, ahí lo que sea que me salga en internet, con tal de distraerme un rato.
¿Y qué clase de música te gusta?
Ah, me gusta música vieja, español, en español de los 80s, 90s, me gusta el rock de los 90s. También me gusta cosas, música de ahora, pero sí, es muy variado. No, no es como que tengo un solo tipo de música, sí, básicamente cualquier cosa que me guste, ¿verdad? Pero casi siempre es
Nice.
música vieja, sí.
Ah, qué bien. So I asked Stan if he listens to music or listens to audiobooks while he draws. And he says, yes, he'll listen to stories or music. He likes a lot of the old Spanish music genre from the 80s, los 80
Sí, sí, sí.
and
80s,
90s. Muy bien. ¿Cómo qué artista?
Me gusta ¿cómo que se llama eso? Soy malísimo con los nombres, ves que se me olvidan. Eh, ¿Cómo es que se llama ese? Me gusta Soda Stereo.
Serio. Nice.
Soda Stereo, sí, no, y varios otros, pero y ahorita no me acuerdo, pero sí.
Qué bien. Very good. Let's see. Qué bien. Y ahora tienes los colores cuando los escoges, los estás escogiendo de colores que ya tienes
Cuando
en the
escojo un color
library.
aquí, digamos, yo lo escojo aquí
Oh,
el color,
I didn't even notice that. Yep.
¿verdad? Pero una vez que lo uso,
Mhm.
me queda guardado aquí abajo, entonces después lo puedo repetir.
Perfect. So he is picking those colors on the fly right now. And once he picks a color, then he can save it as a swatch so that he can come back to it and use the exact same color if that's what he wants to do, or adjust it if he needs to. But at least he has those base colors, so he's not having an eye drop every single time and come back to it. ¿Qué has por su arte? ¿Qué eventos o qué has hecho por su arte? Not just the drawing, but like have you gone to different events outside the country? Got to
Sí,
meet people you really wanted to meet?
sí, voy a convenciones, generalmente en Estados Unidos,
So he'll go
y
to conventions in the States a lot.
ahí comparto con fans o ahí comparto
Gets to
con la
meet fans
gente.
there.
Ujú. Sí, ahora Pero sí me gusta ir bastante. Sí voy bastante. Me gusta, sobre todo Nueva York.
¿Y qué pasó ahí cuando se hizo negro?
Para que el color caiga y no se riegue por todos lados,
Ujú.
tengo que cerrar bien todas las líneas y probablemente no lo estoy haciendo bien. Entonces, cuando pongo el color, se desborda.
So if you guys noticed, his screen kind of went black at one point. It's because he was trying to fill it with the filler, like right there. And normally when he's going a little bit at his own pace, a little, not as quickly as he is today, he needs to make sure that all the black lines are touching on to create a locked in area so that when he fills it like a bucket, it stays within that bucket of lines. If there's any kind of a break, then the ink will spread out all over. So that's kind of what he's kind of going over it by hand because he wasn't able to just fill it because there's a break somewhere.
Exacto.
We're getting a question. Y si has tenido problemas con el verde de los Mighty Morphin Rangers,
Problemas
porque
con el verde,
muchos
¿cómo?
verdes.
Problemas, ¿qué tipo de problemas?
Yo creo, yo creo que piensan que como el verde, como hay muchos verdes entre Mighty Morphin Rangers, y si has tenido complicaciones como no tener the contrast that you need or want, or if you feel maybe like limited by the color palette, I think is what they mean.
No, vieras que el Ranger verde, yo creo que es el Ranger que menos he dibujado.
Menos.
Que menos he tiempo dibujado, sí. Entonces nunca he tenido tantos problemas, ¿no? Los que más he dibujado son el otro equipo.
So I guess he has drawn the Green Ranger the least out of all the Power Rangers. So he hasn't had that many opportunities to have any issues with the Greens. So that would be a no.
Sí. It's because the comic that I used to draw was with the original 5 members, and before Billy, Tommy. So I didn't get the chance to draw Tommy. Ya casi.
Looking good.
Sí, esta parte hubiera sido mucho más rápida si hubiera tenido todos los puntos cerrados, pero
Sí.
sí, pero es que tal vez tarde más tiempo asegurándome que todo esté cerrado. Entonces preferiría hacerlo mano.
So normally he would just fill those areas that he's manually sketching in, as you can see, with a fill button or a fill function. But because he didn't go back and check that all the little lines are meeting up, it's just kind of leaking over. So he's just kind of going over it by hand, trying to make the deadline. Looks really great. ¿Y tus niños también dibujan?
Sí, les gusta bastante dibujar. No sé si lo van así como a nivel como para que lo hagan siempre, pero sí les gusta, y a todo niño le gusta dibujar, ¿verdad?
Yeah.
Más que ellos me ven a mí dibujando todo el día, entonces se ponen a dibujar conmigo.
Qué lindo. I was just asking if his kids like to draw, and he said yes. He doesn't know if they'll do that professionally as they get older. And he did point out that most kids like to draw, so hopefully they continue with it.
Ah,
Leak.
voy a dejarlo así. Bueno, no mentiras. No.
Let's see what's on.
Esta
If you have
aplicación,
any questions for Dan, get them in there and I'll do my best to relay them over to him. ¿Qué decías, Dan?
no, que esta aplicación a mí me gusta y todo, pero no la uso muy normalmente, entonces soy un poquito tieso. Estoy seguro que si alguien la sabe usar, probablemente está como, ¿por qué no hace eso? Es más rápido. Bueno, pero yo como no sé usarlo mucho.
So
Entonces,
Dan's giving us a disclaimer right now. He doesn't normally, as he said before, he doesn't use Procreate very often. So he's wondering if someone is watching, just saying, he could be doing something or using a different tool or whatever to accomplish what he's trying to accomplish. But I think you can't go wrong, Dan.
ahora voy a ver si, bueno, no me falta aquí en la cara.
Entonces, si estuvieras en la aplicación que normal usas, el Paint Tool site, ¿qué sería la diferencia? ¿Más rápido o diferente?
Sí. Sí, yo creo que sería,
O se miraba diferente?
ya bueno, se vería parecido, pero sería más rápido.
Okay, so he's saying that if he was using the application that he normally uses, which makes sense because he's very comfortable with it because that's what he normally uses, that he would actually be going faster, which is incredible to me because it seems like you're going really fast right now.
Lo estoy haciendo rápido, pero no tan bien.
He says he's going fast, but not as good as he would like to.
Ok, ahora voy a poner un poquito de sombras.
So now he's going to start a little bit of shading. So he added another layer.
Ay, me olvidé de algo.
And I have a question for the fans. I'm curious to know if you guys are comic book fans, Power Ranger fans, HOTG fans, RPG fans, or just plain art fans, which I'll take. Or maybe just Dan Mora fans, because we're definitely big Dan Mora fans at Renegade. Okay, Dan, tenemos como unos
¿Cuánto? Dime.
5 minutos.
5 minutos, está bien.
5-minute warning call.
Okay.
I feel like I'm totally rushing you. Stopwatch. Tick, tick, tick,
No worries, no worries.
Looks great. Tommy Oliver fans. Jason David or Frank. Oh, looks incredible. So Dan, ¿estás mirando algo ahorita o nomás estás pintando por su
No,
memoria?
solo pinto, sí. Okay.
So he's not looking at any other reference. He's not looking at pictures or models or anything right now. He's just shaping and painting from memory, just from his own mind, which is very, very cool to watch in action. And I think we've asked you this before. I know for like some of the more complicated covers, where there's a lot of action and characters and movement that sometimes you may use some models or something?
No,
No?
no. A lo que uso de referencia son juguetes.
Who get this?
Sí,
So he
tengo-
uses the what are they called? Like the wood people?
no, toys that like
Oh,
they for children.
I love
So,
it.
esas son mis referencias.
So you'll take them and position them kind of how you
Ajá.
kind of want to set them up.
Ujú,
Nice.
ujú.
So that's if he has an idea, he'll kind of take his toys and kind of put them in and kind of model them
Exacto, sí.
in that way. I love it. All right, we're getting down to the last little bits. It's looking amazing.
Thank you. Ahora me falta, pero ahí.
Sí, está muy bien. So we've got about 2 more minutes.
2 more minutes.
And is
Okay.
adding the last touches to this, giving it some extra life.
Vamos a ver si en esos 2 minutos me da chance de ver un poco de luz.
And try to add some highlights in this last minute or so, just to kind of give it its extra little extra depth and extra life. Gerald Paul, he said, Dan, you're incredible. Others comments, beautiful, stunning, amazing. Everyone's loving it, Dan. Muchas gracias. Awesome.
Gusto.
Tonight.
Muchísimas gracias a ti.
Thank you so much. I think they're going to cut us off pretty soon.
A ver cómo es lo otro. ¿Cómo hago para volver a esto que está?
Perfect. Muchas gracias, Dan. That looks amazing. In 15 minutes. That's like a record.
That was